Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? What's up, everybody? Good morning. It's your girl Constance Carter, and this is your GYM Masterclass. I'm really excited that you guys are here today with me, so we could talk about how to land your TEDx. So, first of all, I just want to say that this is gonna. You guys get your pens and your pads. This is gonna be a really good conversation, and oh, you know what? I forgot to add Instagram. Hold on. Let me add Instagram real quick. All right. Okay. I think we're on Instagram too. All right. Bet. Okay. So you guys, we're gonna talk about how to land a TEDx. Okay. So, and the top 10 ways to create a good TEDx and to land and to get paid. So now first of all, let me clarify this. If you have not signed up, because what I did is I pushed it out to the entire stream. I went ahead and for those who are registered inside here, so if you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, go to gymmasterclass.com, come inside the portal, because at the end, I'm going to give you a good discount code on this upcoming training. So this is only for the people who registered inside the portal. So go to gymmasterclass.com. Go to gymmasterclass.com. Dr. Sue asked if I'm recording. Yes, ma'am, I'm recording. So for those of you, let me clarify the room really quick. So I don't know who's, when I go on Instagram, when I go look on, okay, some people on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you guys come over to gymmasterclass.com. If you're on Facebook, because I'm on 8 or 9 different platforms, but inside the GYM Masterclass portal, there's a community of people inside here that I'm engaging with, that I'm going to be giving a special deal to at the end of this training. So listen, I don't know if you guys know what a TEDx is, but a TEDx is an idea worth sharing. Many people think it's a motivational speech. Many people think it's something that you can go on here and you advertise. And so a lot of thought leaders, I've watched I've watched TEDx's for years, and I've seen some really great ones. One of my favorite TEDx's was Melody Hobson, and hers was really good. She was my favorite. And then I saw, what's his name? Simon Sinek's TED Talk. That was a really good TED Talk. That was one of my top ones. And then the guy who started Uber, he did a TED Talk, and he talked about how Uber could have been started like 100 years ago, but the laws prevented it. Like ride sharing. So those are some of my top TED Talks that I've seen. But then I did a TED Talk back in 2020. It was called Google That Shit. And for some people, it was their favorite TED Talk. I don't know if anybody in here has seen my TED Talk, but if you've seen my TED Talk, it was some people's favorite. Mine actually went to top #1 of my favorite. Oh, you know who else did one? It's not Dixie Whitey. It's another guy that I follow on Instagram. He has the mohawk. He did one about, he was a white supremacist, and he talked about how he converted, I guess in prison, to understand Black people. That was a really good TED Talk too. So I see. Okay, Dr. Sue, you like my TED Talk. Lovely JR, you like my TED Talk. If you haven't seen it, go when you're done here, go to Google Constance Carter TEDx, or Google that shit. If you know what's funny is if you put Google that shit, my TEDx will probably come to the top. But I'm gonna tell you. Well, first of all, let me just give you my story. I wanted to do a TED Talk for about 2 years before I did it. I saw my girlfriend Chandra online. She did a TEDx, and I was like, oh, I want to do one. And I manifested that thing. When I saw it, it took me 2 years to actually get a TED Talk, since, from the time that I really wanted to do it. I applied, several got turned down. They're not easy to get into. So I applied at several and finally landed a TEDx. And it was during COVID. There was not a lot of people in the studio, and this was actually his first TEDx that he put on. Actually, yesterday, if you look at our live yesterday, his name is Ade Amole. If you look at our TEDx yesterday, he was talking about how that one was his first one. They had a lot of technical difficulties. We only had a few people in studio, so. And then I played it at the end of our show yesterday, and then I ended up getting a strike from YouTube for actually playing my TEDx, so I can't play it for YouTube today. but it gives you the structure of a TEDx. Okay. So first of all, what is a TEDx? It is an idea worth sharing. Like I was saying in the beginning, it's not a motivational speech. I've seen people who are way more popular than me that have had way less views. And I've seen people who are way less popular than me that's have way more views. And so it's not about who you are or what you're doing in the world, because anybody can do a TEDx and it can go viral depending on the idea that you have that's worth sharing. And if people think that is worth sharing, then they're going to share it and it's going to be, it'll go viral. I will say this. It took about a year for mine to go viral. The first year, I think I have 5,000 views for a year. So I did the TEDx in September of 2020. And it didn't start kicking until December of 2021. And then it just did this crazy wild run. And it was getting 10,000. I still have screenshots. It was getting 10,000 views every single day, at least 10,000 every day. And I think I probably read every single comment on the TEDx. It was just going. And that was by intention. There are some things that I did to make sure that it went viral. We'll talk about that later. But it was intent. There are people who've talked about some things similar to what I've talked about. Theirs didn't go viral. There are people who had probably better speeches than mine. Theirs didn't go viral. So it's not enough to have a TEDx. There's things that you can do that will actually help the movement. And so for months and months, my TEDx was on the homepage of Google. Check that out. My TEDx, Google that shit, is on the homepage. So every time people open up Google, they would see my TEDx. And this was going on for months. We got thousands of calls in our office. People were like, I want to work with you, Constance. And I was like, you want to buy a house? Because I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the impact. So you have to approach it in two different ways, because I probably would have better positioned myself had I did it for, any monetary gain. And of course, you certainly can get money as a result of having a TEDx. It gives you credibility. It definitely does. It gives you access to rooms. I'm on a cruise ship one day and this guy was like, he said to me, "You be on the internet?" What? Yeah. Did you do a TED Talk? I said, yeah. He was like, "Oh my God, that was one of my favorite TED Talks." My TEDx's have been used in education and academia. My TEDx has been used in corporate spaces and DEI and diversity and equity and inclusion spaces in Fortune 500 companies before they got rid of DEI. So whether you have 500 views or 5 million views, TEDx, it gives you credibility. There are people, yesterday Ade was mentioning that there was somebody in his, that did a TEDx through his organization that only got maybe a couple thousand views and got a Hollywood deal. There was someone else that did a TEDx and didn't get many views, not as many as me, and got her student loans wiped away. I'm like, well, shit, let me call Nailnet right now and send them Google that shit, see if they do something with it. Because I got some Parent Plus loans that need to be forgiven. But yeah, so it'll get you in places that you haven't been. It'll get you in front of people that you don't even know. There's people on here that have seen my TEDx that don't even know me. And then it'll get you in rooms. Did I say that? It'll get you credibility. And then you can actually monetize. So you don't need a PhD. You just need proof of your idea worth sharing. And that comes from your authority of your lived experiences, your results, the frameworks that you created. So if we break down my TEDx in the beginning, okay, so I had a hook, right? I knew it had to be something that captured people. So when I studied TEDx, it's because I studied it. I wanted to do it for 2 years, so I studied it. And so I said, okay, what are some things that really stuck out? Well, I named mine Google that shit. It didn't really have anything to do with it, but I interwove it in there because I thought that was a good catchphrase and that might captivate some people. So I was like, okay, let me do Google that shit. Right. And then, okay, how can I frame that in there? So I said, my first thing I said is I'm a Black woman with a PhD, a public high school diploma. And so I will say this. So if you look at it, it sounds like people were saying in the comments, oh, that joke didn't land over well because there was only 5 people in the studio. It was COVID. But they had already heard that too the night before because we had practiced in front of the people. So that when I said it the night before, man, I killed it because everybody in the room was like, "Oh my god!" But they had TEDx, it was like, "Ooh, yeah!" But it was only like I said, it was only like 5 people in there. So actually, probably I'll say it was 10 people in there. So it was a little bit more. But I talked about my experience. So I came with the hook. Boom! I'm a Black woman with a PhD, public high school diploma. Then I started talking about my experiences as a Black woman from child and how I learned that I was inferior through first television and then in school and then life. And it wasn't until I actually started Googling that shit that I realized, hey, I come from a resilient and powerful people. And so that's my lived experience. Those are the results. And so then I went on to talk about the what we can do. I always try to have solutions. So the first thing I want you to write this down, which I said in the beginning, you need to have a clear idea. So write that down. Clear idea. Hi, Clay from Southeast Asia. It's 11 p.m. and he's locked in. Hey, I love it. So you need to have a clear idea, and that idea needs to be specific. It needs to be clear. It needs to be transformational. Okay. Write that down. Somebody put it in the comments. Your idea needs to be clear, specific, and transformational. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube and you're not inside the portal, y'all better get in here because at the end, I'm going to give you an offer that's going to blow your mind. You really want this. So get inside the portal, go to gymmasterclass.com, sign up for this, get inside here so that you can get this offer at the end. Okay. So you need to have a big idea. It needs to be clear, specific, and transformational. That's one. Somebody put that in the comments. A clear idea. That's number one. Clear idea. Somebody put that in the comments. You need to have a clear idea. I'm gonna look over here in Instagram. If y'all still on Instagram, y'all come over to the studio. Somebody say, ain't nobody gonna put in a clear idea in the chat. Somebody put, okay, there you go. A clear, thank you, Dr. Sue. Thank you. Okay. And here's the thing. If you can't explain that clear idea in one sentence, you ain't ready. Okay. So your clear idea is I help blank do blank so they can blank. Okay. What is your clear idea? Okay. Number 2, identify your unique authority. Identify your unique authority. I'm really excited because Dr. Sue is on here. Dr. Sue is, I've been working with her. She's part of Net 7 Collective, and I've been working with her for a couple of years now. And to see her from where she started and where she is now, just by the coaching that we've had inside there and how she's able to articulate her story, I know she's ready for the TED stage. So I'm really excited about that, Dr. Sue, because when you told your story over the weekend at the Black Power conference, I was like, oh yeah, she's ready. She's ready. So identify your unique authority. Why are you the authority? So they're through your lived experiences, your results, and the framework you've created. Okay. So my lived experiences, that inferiority complex that I had growing up, I took them through the story of me growing up. Okay. The frameworks I've created as a result. So then I started talking about how I've helped people to be able to close the wealth gap. And I talked about, in fact, there was a story I talked about, one of my clients that I helped get her in a single family home, and then a duplex and a triplex and a fourplex. Here's the thing. That didn't even get added on my speech until the day before my speech, because I totally forgot about it. And she called me while I was in Texas, because my TEDx was in Texas and I was preparing for the TEDx, and she called me and we were talking about, and I was like, you know what, girl, I'm gonna put you in my TED Talk. For real. And so I added that in there, and it gave it more weight. It gave it more value because I talked about the results, the lived experience. Okay. So your story is not extra, it's your edge. So make sure you do that. Number 3, y'all ready for number 3? So did we say number 2? Did somebody put in the chat number 2? Your story, it is identify your unique authority. So see if somebody put that in the chat. Identify your unique authority. Somebody put that. Okay. Dr. Sue did. Dr. Sue is a good student. Somebody else got to be a good student too. Come on, y'all. Number 3 is you need to craft your signature framework. Remember I said my hook? I am a Black woman. So let me just tell you, in my speaking, just as I learned, because I have studied speaking. I've studied under some of the best speakers. Les Brown, my mentor, my coach. Lisa Nichols, my mentor, my coach. Linda Clemens, my mentor, my coach. I've taken speaker training and I've learned different things. And I share this with the ladies inside the Net 7 Collective as well. And so I learned different things, different techniques from each of those people. I take this from Les Brown. He taught me how to do this. And I take this from Lisa Nichols. She taught me how to do this. And I take this. These are some of the coldest speakers. And if you haven't heard of Linda Clemens, they're all some of the coldest speakers in the game. Linda Clemens is with Mind Valley now. Just won Speaker of the Year for Mind Valley last year. She's brilliant. But all of them are brilliant. You guys, they're household names. And so I've taken, so I talk and hook. And I'm a rapper anyway, in my mind. I talk in sound bites. I talk and hook. I talk in story. I tell stories all the time. So that's a part of my speaking. That's a natural part of my speaking, but it's also something that I've learned in my professional speaking as I've learned from these professional speakers. So every TED Talk, every powerful TED Talk, it has to have a framework, a hook, a story, a problem, an insight, a solution, and a call to action. All of those things checked off the boxes with my hook. Google that shit. Told you the story of my life, my childhood, how I learned I was inferior. And the problem is there's this big wealth gap, the Black people versus, Black people compared to white people. And then what happened? And then how did that come about? And why are we there? And how does the dollar circulate? And when we were at our peak, what happened and where we are now? But here's the thing. Here's a solution. 4 solutions to close the wealth gap. Okay. So then my call to action was, download Robinhood, download Acorns, do this, do this, do this. And then at the end I said, and if you have any questions about anything I said, I went back to the hook. Don't forget to Google that shit. Okay. So that was the framework of my TED Talk. Now, I didn't have this breakdown when I did it. I just studied successful TED Talks. Okay. I studied successful TED Talks and I crafted my TED Talk based upon those successful ones. Okay. So craft your signature talk framework. Okay. Number 4, create a 60-second and 3-minute version. This is something that I always teach the ladies in my groups. A 60-second, they know it. So they got a 60-second. Tell me what you do in 60 seconds. And I want you to do it in a conversational tone. And I want you to be able to articulate your unique value proposition in 60 seconds. Because you only got me going up the elevator for 60 seconds, or you only got me in this networking event for 60 seconds. So I want you to, it's the same thing that you're going to do for 17 minutes on the TED Talk. I want you to be able to do it in 30 seconds. Okay. Give me the framework. And then I want you to be able to do it in 3 minutes. So now you're getting up in front of a group, and you're standing up and you're talking for 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to tell your unique value proposition or whatever your story is, your framework in 3 minutes. So you need to have that 17 minutes condensed into 60 seconds. And this is just practicing your speech. Okay. And then you want a 3-minute version. So that's number 4, y'all. Create a 60-second and a 3-minute version. All right. How you looking? How we looking? How we looking? All right. Now, if you guys are I'm looking over here on Instagram. Okay. No comments on Instagram. I'm looking on Instagram. If you guys are in Instagram, if you're on Facebook, because I see some people in all of these places and spaces. If you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, or you are on Instagram, come over to gymmasterclass.com so you can get inside the portal. So I can give you an offer at the end that'll be beneficial to you. So Dr. Sue. Okay. I didn't see somebody didn't put it on there. I didn't put it on there. 60 seconds, 3-minute version. I need to see the 60-second and the 3-minute version. Boom. All right. Thank you, Dr. Sue. Okay. Number 5. This is what I just said. I just did. I studied, not like a fan, but like a strategist. I looked at all the brilliant TED Talks. I looked at the ones that I liked. What did I like about them? What hooked me? What did it do? And I watch them over and over again. It's just like with any business, you study your competition. You don't just, you don't just get in business and you just start doing it. You study what the people who are successful have done. You have that as a benchmark. That's your framework. Okay, I like when they did. Okay, they were funny. Okay, you put your stank on it too. Okay, so you want to study just like Dr. Sue May said. You want to study brilliant TEDx's or TED Talks. Okay, like a strategist, not like a fan. Okay, so you want to look at your titles. You want to look at your openings, your delivery style, your story arcs. I remember Simon Sinek's, damn, what's the name of Simon? Hold on. Because that one was one of my favorite ones. Simon Sinek TEDx. Start with why. Great TED Talk. Start with why. That was one of my favorite ones. And so I looked at the framework of all these people. The titles start with why. Okay, well, I'm curious. Why do I start with why? And then he had a book that I read. The book Start with Why. What was that about? Why? So you want to look at the titles. Look at the openings. My opening. I'm a Black woman with a PhD, a public high school diploma. Ha, 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 ha. Now, I say that a lot. For some people, they're like, they've heard it several times. For some people, it's the first time they've heard it because everybody don't know me. Everybody ain't heard me speak. So I'm going to say it. It's kind of like I could watch. There's some of my favorite speakers. I've watched Les Brown. I could probably do Les Brown's speech with him. And don't get old. I could do some Lisa Nichols speeches with her. It don't get old. Dr. George Fraser, one of my favorite thought leaders. I could talk right with him and say what he's going to say right before it. Never gets old. So as a speaker, when you develop your unique signature speech, it's like going to a concert. It's repetitious. And you have your baseline, but you continue to do it. You continue to get better and better and better. You don't talk about different stuff all the time. So you want to you want to create that framework. Okay. So look at study those brilliant TEDx's. Okay. Thank you, H. Clay. Yeah, it'll start with why. Yep. One of my faves. He did another one too. I'm actually getting ready to do another TEDx too. I'm excited about it. Number 6 is build your speaker brand before you apply. And that's what I'm going to talk about at the end, how you can build your speaker brand before you apply. Because organizers aren't just picking ideas, they're picking people who can represent their stage. Okay. So your social media, clips of you speaking, a clear niche. Okay. Because there's more competition. But inside this training that we're getting ready to do, all that stuff will be packaged. So you will not go there cold. I went there cold. That's why I was applying for a bunch of TEDx's and got turned down. And I was like, shit, I got an idea worth sharing. Nobody cared. But when you have relationships that can get you in places that maybe, I don't care how good you are, relationships that get you in places that other things can't. Oh, yeah. Leaders eat last. Yep, you're right. All right. Number 7. Find and target the right TEDx events. So one of the things Ade was saying yesterday is sometimes TEDx event planners will put on TEDx's and they'll already have their people. So they're not even opening it up. And sometimes they'll open it up. They won't have anybody and they'll open it up and there'll be 700-800 applicants. So you just have to target them. They're all over the place, but you're going to have to target the right ones. Not all stages look the same. Okay, so some are local. I had a friend who I met in Barcelona, and she ended up doing her TEDx in France. She was like, I will travel for this. Like she wanted to do a TEDx that bad. She went all the way to France, and she had been preparing for it. So you also want to make sure, because each TEDx has a theme. Oh, I forgot what ours was, but I wove it in there, whatever it was. But let me tell you, I was saying what I already wanted to say. I already had my speech. When I decided I wanted to do a TEDx, I had the idea of the speech when I 2 years before I even did it. And so, I wove that up in there too. So you want to do that. Okay. So you really want to be with events that match your message. You want to apply strategically, and we're going to be able to help you do that. So thank you, Dr. Sue. Find a target, the right TEDx events. Thank you. Number 8. You need to be able to submit a winning application. And this is one of the things that Ade was talking about yesterday on our live, is that people just apply, but they don't know the right things to say. They don't know what these organizers are looking for. And so Ade, being an organizer, he knows the key words. And plus he has relationships with organizers. He knows exactly what they're looking for when they're looking for people to speak. So you want to make sure that you submit a winning application, because this is what separates you from everybody else. You got to clearly state your idea, show why it matters, and then prove that you can deliver. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Y'all taking notes, copious notes. And oh, by the way, if you're watching from YouTube, if you're watching from Facebook, if you're watching from Instagram, you guys come over inside GYM Masterclass. Sign up, come inside GYM Masterclass, come inside the room with all of us in here, because I'm going to give you a special discount at the end, because we're going to do a full 6-week training, and I'll tell you about it. Okay. So the next thing is an interview. You got to be able to nail that interview with confidence. Okay. You got to nail it. You got to have confidence, because once you've identified what you're going to say, and trust me, well, a good TEDx group is going to have some type of training for you guys to make sure that you guys are that you're trained in the way that TED wants you to do your speech. But once you like have an idea and you know what the hell it is that you're talking about, when you do that interview, you're going to kill it. You know why? Because you're going to have the confidence, because you really believe in what it is that you're saying. You're not selling, you're serving, and you're serving from the TEDx stage. And that's the difference. So when you get in front of that organizer, you're going to be able to nail that interview. But one of the things that Ade was saying yesterday is they don't look at individual. Well, they don't just look at applications. They want to see a video. So they want to see a quick video. Okay. And then finally, here's number 10. Y'all ready? Monetize the TEDx effect. Okay. Now let's be real. So this is the part I didn't prepare for. Honestly, I told you in the beginning, I didn't do the TEDx to monetize. I did it for impact. It was just a dream that I wanted to do. I had no idea the possibilities that could come from it. So I didn't capture what I potentially could have after. I eventually created my ecosystem, which was in alignment with my speech, but it took a couple of years actually, because I was so, I'm building, the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. I'm CEO, and I ain't got time to be doing nothing else. People was calling my office, like I said, thousands of people called the office. I'm like, you want to buy a house? Like, well, and they were just like, no contest. We want to work with you. When you create something that's impactful, people want to work with you. And so you need to have something in mind to where you're able to monetize. Okay. So you want to definitely make sure that when they do reach out to you, when they do see you, that you have some type of offer. You want to make sure that you have a funnel. And that's part of what we're going to be doing inside this group. So when you finish going through this 6 weeks, you're going to be able to, you're going to have the funnel, you're going to have the offer, you're going to have the TEDx speech, you're going to have all the things that's going to land you on the stage and get paid. And I can speak to that from experience, because like I said, I didn't do it for the monetization. But I mean, to be honest, the TEDx, it definitely gave me credibility. And so if you're just coming in here, if you're just logging on, just know that it was something that gets me indoors. Again, it puts my name in rooms that I've never been in. It's impactful. I met people that said that they're showing this to their schools. My cousin, y'all, my cousin was like, he seen me, his teacher showed my TEDx in his classroom. He was like, is that Niecy? They don't know my name is Constance Carter, because they call me Niecy in the family. He was like, is that Niecy? He had to ask his mom, hey, I seen this lady that looked like Niecy. I think, and her name was Constance Carter. She was like, boy, that's your cousin. That is Niecy. But I mean, that's just the impact of having such a prestigious thing. It's history. You're a lot. I don't care if you get 100 views. or a million views, getting on the TEDx stage is history. Okay. So I'm going to give you a moment. I'm going to give everybody a moment to ask any questions that they may have that I didn't cover. Remember, this is a masterclass, and I just wanted to give you that 10 steps, because after I answer any questions, if you have questions, I'm going to take off the YouTube stream. I'm going to take off the Facebook stream, and it's just going to be for the portal. But I will say, starting next week on the 18th, in 2 weeks, on the 18th and the 19th, it's going to be every Tuesday, May 19th, starting May 19th, we are doing a 6-week cohort. Okay. A 6-week cohort where we're going to teach you every step of this 10-step process to ultimately get you on the TEDx stage. So I actually partnered with Ade Amole. And who is Ade Amole? He's the guy who organized the first TEDx that I did. Yeah. And the great thing about him is he has 3 other TEDx's that he's in affiliation with, but he also has relationships. Somebody write this down. Relationships will take you places that money cannot. Put that in the comments. Relationships will take you places that money cannot. What does that mean? Thank you. Hey, thank you, Ranika. No, you spelled my name right. I'm gonna answer your question in a minute. So relationships. So by virtue of him having relationships, he has people that he can talk to. One of the things he said is he said that it was his goal. Now he cannot make any guarantees, being that he has an affiliation with TED. He cannot make any guarantees, and I'm not making any guarantees on his behalf. Okay, but he has a goal, and he just came in here. He has a goal to get 100% of the people who go through the training. You ready to come in here, Ade? He has a goal to get 100% of the training on the TEDx stage. So I'm going to bring you on really quick. So just in time, because hey, Ade, I just finished the 10 steps to land their TEDx. It was great. We have some questions, but I do want to say, so what I'm not right now, I'm telling them about, I just told them relationships will take you places that money cannot. Right now, I'm getting ready to talk to them about, I was talking to them about the 6-week cohort that we're doing, that we're starting on May 19th. So this is Ade. Now, Ade is the organizer of the first TEDx that I did. And he's helped, how many people have you helped and have you put on the TEDx stage?
I think it should be around 60 to 70 right now. Yeah.
60 to 70 people that he's helped put on the TEDx stage.
Yeah.
And I was one of them. And fortunately, my TEDx did very well. So he and I, and I'm telling you, that credibility from TEDx, if you see my social media, I have a great following on social media. Oh, you know who else did a good one? What's her name? Lovey. That was one of my favorite ones too. I forget her name. Lovey. I forget her name. Avi, I think she did a really great TEDx, but she blew up from her TEDx. So for me, my social media does well. The TEDx gives it credibility. The business, the coaching business that does well, the TEDx gives it credibility. It's not the only piece of credibility, but the TEDx puts the credibility behind your business. And so this 6-week training, those 10 things that I told you that you need in order to land a TEDx stage and monetize, we're going to be talking about it inside the 6-week training. So we're going to answer some questions. And so let's answer Dr. Sue's question. She said, are there certain markets that I can get in front of that will help her business doing a TEDx? What do you say? And I know you just came in here cold, so.
I was actually trying to go through the comments real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's nice to be here with everybody. And I know Constance actually talked about what you need to do for TEDx and, get into that space, and also the value that it adds to us making an impact in our world. I think that's one thing that's very important for us. Making an impact is very essential. And you can have your voice in your home, or you can have your voice on the red stage that can reach millions. So what we're doing here is to give more people an opportunity to have their voice out there. And being an organizer since 2020, I've learned what it looks like from the other side of the table. While we're creating ideas, we focus on ideas, not the speakers. Speaker is second, your presentation. And that's what happens most of the time. People work on the presentation, when they don't have a great idea. And once the idea
Oof,
is not clear and it's not just one idea, it poses a challenge. So now going to the questions that we have in the comments.
that's a bar right there, y'all. That's a bar. You ain't even got a good idea. Let's get that
Yeah.
idea taken care of first before we try to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is what we're going to do through the 6 week, right? That's why that clarity on the idea is so important for us
That was number one.
before
That was number
we
one of
move
the
to
10
next.
steps.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think I saw a comment. Someone mentioned how I have so many ideas.
Hold on. Let's get to this one first. So are there
Okay,
certain
which one?
targets that I can get in front of that will help my business doing a TEDx?
Okay, so maybe we should do a deep dive into what you have in mind. What business are you in? Number one, right? What ideas are going through your mind? How do we? Because sometimes the idea we're sharing. Look, for instance, Constance talked about that wealth gap, but she's a realtor, right? But it drew people in, right? So I think we need to really find that idea that will set us apart. Because remember, when people are applying, there's a particular colleague that the application attracted 700 applications. So how do you stand out amongst those 700? That's number one. And two, when people get to know you and your idea, then it opens up the industry. You walk into a place, you can say, this is your idea. That industry will open up. It's like, oh, wow, you delivered a TED talk already, and you're able to, give something that people can actually take an action on. That's one thing that was good about Costa's, talk as well. People were able to take action, and there was a call to action. So not just, oh, this is my story. No, what is your idea corroborated with great stories? That's what you want to do. So I hope that answers the question about industry, because when it comes to ideas, it can cut across all industries. Okay.
Okay. Will there be a replay? If you signed up, if you go to gymmasterclass.com and you sign up, you will get the replay. So Jackie, it looks like you're inside the portal. So you'll get access to the replay. It'll be sent out to you. Candace said, do you already have to be a public speaker for a TEDx?
No. As a matter of fact, we're not even looking for public speakers. We're looking for great ideas. So focus on your idea. It's for everybody. It's for everyone that has a great idea. If you tell me you don't have an idea, that's not true. Because for you to have gone through life in your specific industry, in a specific space, there must be something that you must have learned through that process that can become an idea, a different perspective of the same problem that everybody's aware of, or a way of solving that you've learned along your journey. That is what TEDx is looking for. They're looking for ideas worth sharing, not public speakers worth sharing. So, so that's focus on the idea. And sometimes it may be a struggle finding the idea. It's part of the process.
Well,
And
that's the next question.
Oh, wow. That's
okay. You said she has too many ideas.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's so many ideas. So there's a way for you to get clarity, a framework. Where those are things we're going to teach in the masterclass. So how do you discover that unique idea? Know one thing: you cannot be an island when it comes to developing ideas. Which is why you have coaches, you have mentors, you have peers to actually bounce those ideas off of. Not just be in an isolated space.
Everybody heard my speech.
Yeah. So that you can get that clarity on your idea. I'll just share one tip. Your idea must be easily transferable. And what do I mean by that? If I share an idea with you and I share it with another friend and I share it with somebody else, if all of them are saying different things, that means the idea is not clear yet. It has to be so clear that everyone is repeating the same thing over and over again. They're getting that understanding. Because when it comes to language, right, we have to be able to communicate what we have in our minds with the people that are listening. And that's when the connection really happens. So you can have a great idea, but you don't even know how to transfer that idea to the minds of people. And that is very essential when it comes to TEDx. Okay.
Love it. Good. Oh, that was great. Okay. H. Clay, he's all the way in Asia.
Hey.
He said, does having Toastmasters experience transfer well to the TEDx stage?
Well, I would say it does and it does not. Let's put it that way. It does in the sense that in your presentation, it will definitely help. But remember, if your idea is not clear, what are you presenting? You may know how to deliver a talk. Okay, good example. There's one of the speakers on my stage. I think that was 2023. She's been a great speaker, keynote speaker. She's been on radio. She's done a number of things. But when it came to TEDx and we went through the coaching, she said, man, this is tedious because now I have to deliver a talk in 15 minutes and I have to be right on point. Every line counts. That's why when Constance was talking about how she had the sound bites, that is so important. So the dynamics of delivering 15 minutes talk is different from the dynamics of delivering an hour talk or 1.5 hour talk. I can sway off the topic and come back. You don't have that luxury. You will lose the people so quickly. And then, one important part, which we're going to address in the masterclass, is developing your true line. Your true line is more or less the map that carries you from point A to the end of your talk. If your true line is not clear, it would actually affect your talk. So the true line becomes your compass or your your GPS, if you put it that way, from each point carrying you. So once you've drafted out your true line, which we're going to do a practical exercise in working on that, it will help become the framework of your script, your talk that you're going to deliver on the TEDx stage. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have to already have an idea before you take the masterclass?
You don't necessarily have to, because part of what we'll do is to help you discover that. We'll give you a framework of how to discover your idea, right? If you have a vague, so this is what ends up happening. Sometimes people have topics, but they don't really have idea, because a topic can actually be comprised of so many things. It can be a topic that is just a story. It can be a topic that is comprised of multiple ideas. So being able to decipher and isolate that one idea, that one idea now has a framework of how you're going to deliver that idea, whether it's a big idea you're sharing or a different perspective to an existing problem, a call to action to a community issue, So once that idea is clear, then we can take you on that journey. So you don't have to have an idea to start off. It's interesting, as people tell their stories, you can actually say, oh, you know what? Have you considered this to be an idea, right? There's like, oh, I didn't think about it. That's why the masterclass is far beyond, Constance and I leading the class. It's actually a peer-to-peer experience. And I believe when we finish the masterclass, we'll talk, not the masterclass, the 6-week sessions. When we finish it, we would also introduce a community afterwards. And the reason for that is because there's something that happens when you are in proximity with the right people in the right space, and that peer-to-peer review, back-to-back, giving ideas and feedback from others. Constance, I'll tell you, I think it was 2023, I had a coaching session that was in person, and it was so amazing because there was engagement with each other on the process. And we put you on the spot. We're not going to give you homework to go do at home. You're going to do it right then and then. And one of the feedback that I got from one of the coaching sessions we had was that if you had given me this as an homework, I wouldn't have done it. But the fact that I did it on the spot, I even surprised myself. I shocked myself what I was able to do on the spot. So those are things we're going to do. This is not something another class you're just going to take. Say that again?
And then we're going to get you out your comfort zone.
Oh, yes, because that's how to do it. And this is not something you just, we watch this thing and then it's over. No, we want to see results. These are result-driven sessions towards, like I know she already shared, within 12 months, 6 to 12 months, we want to see results. Not just in your talk, but getting the outcome that we're expecting.
Yeah. See, it's an alignment. He wasn't even here, and he's just basically saying everything. It's an alignment. So I'm gonna Instagram. I think I saw it. So if you guys listen, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, go to gymmasterclass.com, because in a minute we're gonna disconnect you from here, and we're gonna talk to the people who are inside the portal for the special discount code. But I'm going on Instagram, and somebody said, he said something about being in jail. Hold on. Oh, where's the jail guy's comment? Oh, there it is. Wait. If I'm day one fresh out the penitentiary, what would you suggest for my first 5 steps? I hate talking, I'm all action, but I've learned I have to talk.
You want to take that?
I would look at your experience in the penitentiary. If you're talking about doing the TED Talk, I would look at your experience inside the penitentiary and maybe talk about ways like you could really rehabilitate, like something that's a different approach to the rehabilitation process. And I will go through the history because that's kind of like the winning for me, the winning formula, especially when I do a lot of my projects or when I do a lot of my videos. I like to talk about the historical perspective. How do we get here? Where did this come from? You know, and tell your story inside that journey, and then what are the outcomes, or what are the things, and what's the call to action? So, you know, just from your perspective, I would do that.
Okay, someone said I've been doing so many courses I've led to nothing programs. Yeah, this is not a course. This is this is not going to be a course. No. I can feel your pain. I've been there before, taking courses and you don't get the results. Part of, for us, Constance and I, we've talked about it. There's a lot of information out there. That's not what this is. This is a transformational experience. We work closely with you to see that experience. That's why we don't want the group to be too large. It's right. 20. We're doing 20. We're going to work closely with the 20 to see results. So yeah, you'll get that from this.
So here's the thing. So for everyone on here, we are starting our 6-week cohort May the 19th. This is going to be every week, every Tuesday for 6 weeks. Those 10 things that I talked about, you're going to learn them, plus so much more. So just Ade, just so you know, here's what I talked about. Those 10 things, and they're in the comments too.
Clarify. Yeah, I'm actually scrolling through the text to see what you.
Yeah, clarify the big idea. Identify your unique authority. Craft your signature talk. Create a 60-second and a 3-minute version. Study TED Talks like a strategist. Build your speaker brand before you apply. This is all inside this 6 weeks. Find and target the right TEDx's. Submit a winning application. Nail the interview and the audition. And monetize. That's the last thing that, you know, we do. And one of the things that I do now in terms of, but the TEDx has definitely helped to be able to monetize that. So we are going to be starting this. The cost is very cheap, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there are people who are actually teaching just this coaching that has, and we, again, there's no guarantees, but they charge $10,000 for it. And one of the things that Ade and I were very clear on is that we wanted to make it affordable for everyone to be able to do it. So not only is it not $10,000, but we also have financing available for those who may not have the money up front. So we're doing it for only $2,497, $2,497. We are offering this course to you for $2,497. Where can they go? So what time are we doing the trainings? Is that 7 or 8 Eastern?
I think it's 8. Yeah,
8 Eastern. So 5 p.m. PST. So it'll be 5 p.m. PST. Okay. So $2,497. Rodney, you keep posting, you keep putting your comments, but nothing's coming through. It just comes through blank when you do your comment.
Who, me?
No, somebody named Rodney on here. She keeps commenting, but it doesn't come up anything. So $2,497. That's a no-brainer, because the value of the amount of money that you can make, about the impact that you can make, about you getting somebody that has the experience. We both have the experience, the TEDx experience. He has even more than I do. People who have the relationships. What did I say about relationships earlier, y'all? Relationships will take you places that money cannot. Okay. So that's far more valuable than paying somebody $10,000 that says that they can get you into something. So $2,497. Can you put the link of where they can sign up?
I'll do that right now.
So if you want to sign up, go to this link. We are
Is it okay to do a little exercise real quick?
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'll do that, but let me post this first.
Yeah, post the link.
Yeah.
And then for those who are in here, so afterwards, we're going to give a discount code for the people who are signed up, who are inside the portal. So if you on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, go to gymmasterclass.com, come inside here so that you can get the discount. Okay. So it's a $497 discount. and it's only for the people who are signed up. So here is the link. So if you go ahead and click on that link. All right, what's the exercise we're doing today?
Okay, so I think one common thread or common thing I've noticed people do is where they're not able to differentiate between an idea, a topic, and a story. So I want to go through an exercise with everyone. And so if you have your notes and you're going to write down, I'm going to go through a few things real quick. So let me share my screen. See, how do you share screen here? Okay,
down there at the bottom, you see where that little TV.
Okay, I see it now. I see it now.
Idea, a topic, and what?
Idea, topic, and a story.
And a story. Okay.
Okay, share screen. Okay. Let's see. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out this thing. Okay, I think I got it now. So I think I put it there now. You can push it, right?
You can go ahead and do it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't know how you do it on this end. I put the sharing already.
So you hit share screen, and then you got to where it says your tab. Are you on Chrome? What do you want?
Yep. So you see that one of the screens has it now, has the presentation.
So click on the screen. Click on the screen and then hit share. So whether it's Instagram, Facebook, PowerPoint, click on that.
Are they able to see? Oh, okay. I think they see it now. Do you see this my screen or not yet?
It says you shared it, then you canceled it.
Oh, I did? Okay, let me do it. How about now? Okay, I'm going to stop the screen and do it again.
The link is not working.
Let me post the link again.
Here, actually send it, put it in the notes in the private chat.
Okay, I'll put it in notes, private chat to, okay.
Let me see if I can do it.
Okay, so let me try this.
Yeah, it works for me.
So present, share screen, window, I think this one, share. Okay, I'm sharing right now. Is it
all right? So let me add it to the stage.
Oh, that's what was missing. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this. So a powerful story is not automatically a TEDx idea. Most times people think about TEDx as in storytelling, which may sound like that, but it's actually idea sharing. The story is just corroborated. So I cannot break it down into three parts. So you have the story, what happened to you, which is your personal thing. And one of the things we have to be careful with when you're filling your application, it can't be about you. It has to be about the audience. And so if it's about the audience, the way you craft your story also will be different because you want it to be very relatable for the audience, right? And then topic is what you want to talk about, whereas the idea is what the audience now sees different. What are you sharing that will help the audience to see it a little different? Okay. Now, I don't want this to sound too vague, so I'm going to give you an example. So let's see. So story versus topic versus idea. I overcame fear and built my business. That's your story. That's your personal story. We can't steal that from you. That is yours, right? And your topic can be confidence and entrepreneurship. But look at what the idea looks like. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build through repeated evidence. Now, you're sharing an idea here that confidence is not something you wait to feel, right? So it's no longer just, here's my story, but this is the framework of what you're sharing. You're sharing about confidence and how it's something you build through repeated evidence. So there's an action that can be taken to actually help build that confidence. If you leave this statement as confidence is not something you wait to feel, you leave me to a point of guessing what it is. So what is it then? How do I build confidence? You've not given me a framework. So this is more or less like a true line. I know what you're addressing here. If I share this with multiple people, they will tell me exactly the same thing over and over again. Whereas if I tell you confidence and entrepreneurship, you can have multiple different ways you can address it. If I told you I overcame fear and built my business, I don't know how you overcame fear. I don't know how you did it. That is your story. So the idea can be picked from your story, but it has to be very clear in the framework of how you achieved it. Okay. So I have this quick idea test here. 1, can a stranger repeat your idea clearly? Okay. Is it distinct or does it sound familiar? So this is the part where you have to really, really work on the idea to make it distinct. So it won't be like, oh, one of those cliche. I've seen someone share an idea and they're trying to share a cliche. It's not distinct. It's not unique. It's not something that's that'll make me think, why does this idea matter now? So even having relevance for the timing is so important. I remember one of the speakers talked about remote work and how she had traveled multiple countries, and traveling multiple countries does not change satisfaction in your career. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just get a remote work somewhere else. And she learned that on her journey and she shared that as an idea. Okay. So it mattered for now because at that time it was just right after the pandemic. So, hey, it was really relevant to the point that TED actually reached out to us and said they wanted to feature it on their main page. Okay. What changes for the audience if they believe it? So what is the outcome? What's the transformation that people experience once they listen to your talk? Why are you the right person to deliver it? Whether it's your credentials, whether it's the research, whether it's your experience, whether it's your journey that you've had that enables you to deliver this idea. Okay. So this is the exercise. Write your idea in 1 sentence. I'm giving you 60 to 90 seconds. I believe dash because dash, and if people understood this, they would do dash. So example is this: I believe confidence is built through evidence because action creates proof. And if people understood this, they will stop waiting to feel ready before moving. So 60 seconds count starts now.
I wish I had the Jeopardy music.
I know.
I got the timer going.
I have a countdown here. Okay. So I see Jackie asking a question here. So when you say they say the same thing, are you meaning that the conclusions are the same from your talk? Yes, the conclusions. They don't have to use exact words you're saying, but they are saying exactly. Anyone that listens to them they understand that they understood what you said. Okay. Okay, I think it's almost 1 minute, right?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pins down.
So this is just one of the exercises that we're going to have in the sessions we'll be having with you. We're doing protocols, so that way you go away with tangibles and you can take that to go apply. Part of what we're doing is to also, so I'm seeing someone now. I believe I have women with disabilities because they need clothes that are easy. If people understand this, they will enjoy my clothing. That's an interesting one. What do you think, Constance?
I like her product, and I like the reason why so this is one of the ladies who's in Net 7, and I taught them how to tell their story. So we were in a conference last week and she was there. She just told her story and it was great. And so once she works this thing and she gets it, because there's a whole reason, and there's a whole segment of the population that is suffering. And so she's doing something that's really unique, but there's once she fleshes that idea out, it'll be ready for the next stage.
Yeah, I can see on
it's not just the clothing thing, but it's the why, and it's all the things that come along with it.
Yes, I can see an idea developing from this, definitely. And it will be unique as well, because it will be coming from your own angle and perspective. This 60 seconds is really short time. It's just to trigger that you can actually deliver something, usually true lines can take days and weeks to actually develop, but you start from somewhere to actually start working on the true line. So great job, Sue. Anyone else has their own true line? This is more or less like a true line, writing your idea in one sentence. You see, what we just did right now is actually essential on almost every speaker application that is put out there. If you don't have this ready, you don't have what you're going to fill out in the application, so very important. Awesome. Okay, looks like only Sue responded.
Only Dr. Sue. So listen, y'all, we're going to get off of the other. So if you are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you want to hear about the special offer, go into GYMMasterclass.com, because I'm getting ready to tell the folks who are signed up what our special offer is. So we're going to go ahead and remove the other streams. So I just wanted to just let you know again, just reiterate for everybody that's watching. If you've ever thought about getting on that TEDx stage, what it's done for me personally, it gave me visibility. It gave me credibility. It put me in rooms that I never thought that I would be in. And then eventually I was able to monetize because of the credibility and the visibility. So it's been transformational. And it also gave other people ideas. It was transformational for them, things that they had never thought about. Okay. And so if you see my work today, I build on what I talk, because this has been in my DNA for years. So I just constantly am building on the things that I talk about inside my TEDx. And so that's what it did for me. So if you've ever wanted to do a TEDx, don't be scared. Most people are scared to be public speakers. I don't get nervous. And I'm telling you, I don't get nervous when I speak.
See,
I was nervous on that.
For an introvert, she doesn't get nervous.
Not when I speak. Not when I speak on stage. And I am an introvert. He saw it firsthand. But when I was on that TEDx stage, I was nervous because I knew the impact. I knew how big it was. So I was nervous. I knew that's a natural thing. So don't be afraid. In fact, there was a guy that was so nervous, and he did really well. His thing did really well. He was with me, the other Black guy, and he was so nervous. I think you guys did it. You guys did his again the next day.
I remember. And it did something that I actually warned everybody to avoid. I don't know if you remember.
Did he have notes?
No, not that. He was not meant to practice into the stage.
He what?
Practice. He was practicing into the stage, and it froze. Usually I tell speakers to have a day break or 2 days break, not thinking about it, just, but he drove down to Houston and was practicing the script over and over again, driving into Houston. And he froze.
He didn't have no time.
He froze.
Okay. Well, I tell you, the person I brought with me, I was practicing. He even said, "Hey, what happened when we was in the car? It was way better when we was in the car than when you got on the stage."
You're not meant to practice into the stage, Costas.
Yeah, I was practicing that thing. I practiced that all day. Let me do it again.
Yeah, you want to relax, be in the right frame of mind, just, take ownership of the stage, So,
yeah. Absolutely. So, but his did well. So his did well, like his outperformed mine initially. I think, within the first few months, he got way more views than I did. But I was intentional. And so in the 6-week training, I'm also going to tell you the strategies that I did to ensure that mine went viral, because it wasn't enough to just have a TEDx, because there's thousands of TEDx's. But what do you do afterwards to make sure that you're going to get the visibility that you need to make it go viral? And so we're going to talk about that inside the 6-week training. So you're going to get all the things, and you see, and the relationships. What I say earlier, relationships will take you places that money cannot. So for those of you who are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, we're going to go ahead and take you out of the stream. And if you want to come in and you want to get, this discount on this offer, go to gymmasterclass.com. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove you guys. You guys, we'll see you later. I'm removing everybody else. Let's see. Bye. Remove. One more Facebook to remove. I'm gonna remove LinkedIn. We're on 8 streams right now. Remove the YouTubes. Bye, YouTube. Bye, other YouTube.